What is true freedom in Christ? True freedom is one of the most sought-after experiences by people. However, we often confuse it with the ability to do whatever we want without restrictions. The Bible shows us that freedom in Christ doesn't mean the absence of rules but rather liberation from sin, fear, and limitations that separate us from God and the fullness of life. Jesus said, "If you hold to my teaching, you are truly my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Gospel of John, chapter 8, verses 31 and 32. These words remind us that true freedom begins with knowing Christ and his teachings, which free us from the bondage of sin and false beliefs. The Apostle Paul writes in the letter to the Galatians, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." Galatians, chapter 5, verse 1. Freedom in Christ is life in grace, where we are no longer prisoners of law or guilt but can enjoy a relationship with God based on love and forgiveness. Psychology emphasizes that emotional and spiritual freedom is the key to a healthy and happy life. When we free ourselves from internal limitations such as guilt, fear, or anger, we can experience the fullness of life. Freedom in Christ gives us inner peace that surpasses all earthly experiences. How can we experience true freedom in Christ? First, accept God's forgiveness. Paul writes in the letter to the Romans, "But now apart from the law the righteousness of God has been made known, to which the law and the prophets testify." This righteousness is given through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. Romans, chapter 3, verses 21 and 22. Accepting grace and forgiveness frees us from the burden of guilt and opens the path to a new life. Second, let Christ lead your life. Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Matthew, chapter 11, verses 29 and 30. Surrendering your life to Jesus brings freedom from chaos and burdens that we often impose on ourselves. Third, live according to Christ's teachings. Paul writes in the letter to the Romans, "Therefore do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desires. Offer yourselves to God as those who have been brought from death to life." Romans, chapter 6, verses 12 and 13. Living in obedience to Christ leads to true freedom, which doesn't limit but allows living more fully. Fourth, free yourself from fear. Paul writes in the letter to the Romans, "The Spirit you received does not make you slaves, so that you live in fear again. Rather, the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship. And by him we cry, Abba, Father." Romans, chapter 8, verse 15. Freedom in Christ means trusting God as a loving Father who guides us through life. Fifth, share your freedom with others. Paul writes in the letter to the Galatians, "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free. But do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love." Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13. True freedom inspires us to love and serve, bringing joy and strengthening the community. True freedom in Christ is not about the absence of restrictions but living in a complete relationship with God that frees us from sin, fear, and internal bonds. Jesus says, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 36. This freedom is a gift that transforms our lives and allows us to live in peace, love, and hope. Thank you for being here. May God protect you. Your friend greets you from the heart.